Hey guys, so welcome back to Danganronpa 2. Goodbye Despair. We're in the middle of class trial number 4 for Nekomaru Nidai's death. We've just learned what the ultimate weapon is and we've hit recess, so let's carry on. Here we go. Why hello there. I thought of a new bad word to call Monami. I can already tell I won't be pleased by this. Then let me say it right away. I'm already used to insults and slander. There's no way I'll get hurt by a mere word. Monami is a serious stoufatly. That's much more straightforward than I expected. Stoufatly, huh? That's not it. That's not it at all. Stupid, fat, and ugly. The perfect jet stream attack incorporating all three of these words would be... Ta-da! Stoufatly!
Huh?
There's a fat hidden in there?
Okay, everyone, all together now! Monami is a serious stoufatly.
At least I pronounced it right. Stoufatly. How mean. Let's resume.
Hello. I hope your day is well. I'm trying to force myself to be more energetic, or else my mental state won't be able to keep up. My heart's thumping like crazy. I might as well have a laid-back, so what attitude and go ahead with high energy. Yeehaw! But be careful that your batteries don't run out for various reasons. And just like I say each time, don't forget to save frequently.
I sure am. We still have to consider the suicide as an option. It was brought up, but I don't know.
I never expected the funhouse itself to be the ultimate weapon.
Neither did I.
Oh well, let's just press on ahead.
Okay. If you say so.
Is it really alright to accept a situation so easily?
She flipped it real quick, didn't she?
I mean, that's not what's important. The thing that's really important is the killer who used the building structure. Like, who's Nekomaru's murderer?
But is it really okay to believe the building is the weapon? Nagito said it, you know.
Who would have been clever and sly enough to use the building as a weapon?
There's no way I'd lie at such an important moment. I don't want to die either.
You used to.
What happened to the bastard who kept saying how much they didn't mind dying?
Exactly.
He's right. There was a time when I thought I could become a stepping stone for your hopes, but I will sincerely retract that remark.
Surely... He doesn't think of us as ultimates anymore, does he?
Retract?
I'm disappointed too, you know. If this was a murder for the sake of hope, I'd happily sacrifice myself.
You say such falsehoods, per usual. There is no such thing as murder for the sake of hope. Murder is simply murder. Forcibly sacrificing others for one's own desires. Even one as diabolical as I would avoid such actions.
I really want to believe that, Gundam. We made a contract together.
I see.
It's fine. Let's just leave him alone and find out who killed Coach Nekomaru as fast as we can.
That's the trouble. He knows a lot. We need him.
Just so you know, it's not like I'm getting hungry or anything, you know.
Akane! You were drooling waterfalls?
Nagito. As usual, I can't tell what he's thinking. I have no idea if he's serious or not.
Anyway, if the killer used the building structure, why don't we think about how they used it?
How they killed Nekomaru.
It might be better if we clarify the cause of death first, don't you think?
Nekomaru's cause of death, huh? It was his head. He was horribly damaged, as if he was beaten senseless with a blunt object. But if he was beaten with a blunt object, it wouldn't be a kill that utilized the building structure. So, what was Nekomaru's cause of death that also utilized the building structure? It's either falling or getting crushed. No, if it was crushed, he would be, like, nothing left of him, right? It's gotta be falling.
I see!
That's it. I think he might have died from falling.
Someone must have suspended him, lowered the elevator, and then he woke up, must have panicked, cut himself loose, and fell to his death. It makes sense because Grape Tower is at the bottom, right? Well, the first floor of Grape House is the first floor. The true first floor.
Died from falling?
That's where that metal wire comes in, right?
If the funhouse's secret is that it's a structure where both towers and houses are vertically connected.
What if he fell on top of the pillar? Which is what knocked it down.
Then the killer made use of its height and caused Nekomaru to die from falling.
But where would they tie him up to? You can't see the ceiling.
Are you saying they pushed him off? Where'd they push him off from?
Did they tie it to the doorknob? That must be why the doorknob was missing. Let's review that really quickly. Where is it? Here. A doorknob found under the tipped over pillar. The screws at the base are pulled out. There's some scratch marks on the knob itself. The force of holding Nekomaru and him wiggling, it must have pulled the knob out of its socket, and then they both fell. That must be it then.
That I don't know yet.
Okay, I feel like I'm getting closer to this.
Don't just make things up when you don't know the method.
But I think I'm onto something, Gundam.
Where in that building would you even be able to push someone off in the first place?
Wasn't pushing him off.
It might be possible in the tower. You could push him off the 4th floor when the elevator is on the 1st floor.
But it shouldn't be like that because that door should be shut tight.
Did you forget how the elevator functions? When it's on the 1st floor, the door on the 4th floor won't open.
Saying he died from falling is truly incorrect. You should burn in the flames of hell.
Who could have done this?
But my gut is going crazy right now.
If Nekomaru died from falling, where did the killer shove Nekomaru from? Hang on, let's go looking at the pillar again. Can we? Yeah. He must have fallen on his head on top of the pillar. And that's what knocked it over. The speed of him falling and his weight would have knocked it over easily, right? If I'm going to reach the truth behind this incident, I need to solve that mystery next. Okay. Okay, I think I'm onto something. Goodnight button, Akane's account, elevator, alarm timer, broken doorknob. Let's go for this.
When the elevator is on the 1st floor, you can't go through the door on the 4th floor.
That's correct.
It'd be impossible to shove off the victim from up there.
Then, how about this? After locking Nekomaru inside the elevator, they moved the elevator from the 4th floor to the 1st floor and made use of the drop.
I agree with that.
Hold on, did you forget the elevator has a sensor?
But if he was
As
asleep...
long as there's a moving object inside,
So now I'm using the wrong one. So
the other
goodnight
door
button.
won't open. Which means the elevator wouldn't have moved either.
For a mongrel, you're
That
doing
must
quite
be
well.
the threshold of that elevator.
If they put him to sleep, the sensors wouldn't have picked it up. I need to make it clear so they understand that Nekomaru fell to his death. Looks like it's all up to me.
When the elevator is on, you can't go through
Yeah,
the
we're
door
gonna
on the
have to
4th.
It'd be
Kazuichi here.
impossible to shove off.
Then, after locking Nekomaru, they moved the and made use of the drop.
Hold on, did you forget? As long as there's a moving object inside.
Yes.
No, that's wrong!
If he was shut down, the sensors wouldn't have picked it up.
That sensor should only work if something is moving. If Nekomaru wasn't moving inside, the elevator sensor wouldn't have detected anything.
Could it be his sleep mode?
Getting super scared about this, man.
When Nekomaru's goodnight button is pressed, all of his functions shut down, and he enters sleep mode.
I'm slowly eliminating suspects from my mind, and it's not looking good.
If he's in sleep mode, the elevator sensor wouldn't have noticed him, right?
I see. So that's how...
However, even if they moved the elevator in that manner, Nekomaru would have just moved along with it. There would have been no drop for him to fall and die from. Yes?
Unless you suspended him somewhere.
That's what I was about to explain, before Kazuichi interrupted me.
Silence, pest!
Now you're calling me a pest?
A way to create the drop inside the elevator while Nekomaru was still in it? Chiaki seems to have an idea, but what way could that be? Okay, we're moving quickly here. Wire. There we go.
If you arrange it a certain way, you You can cause the drop within the elevator.
Agreed.
So you're telling us all to think about the arrangement, right?
That arrangement is...
You already know, don't you, Nagito?
The hammer is suspicious.
No. Thinking time.
Isn't it about time we went over the pillar again?
Not the pillar again.
What about the oil on the floor?
No.
The doorknob on the floor seems suspicious.
I agree with that.
I was supposed to let the debate play, but I couldn't. I'm too excited. Because I figured something out for once. I have to
Didn't
redeem
the doorknob
myself.
have scrape marks on it?
I have to redeem myself for that stupid drawing I made and showed you guys. How embarrassing.
That might have been where it got scraped by the wire.
Is that the same wire that was tied around Nekomaru?
So I came to the conclusion just literally a minute before it comes up. Great. I always figure it out, like, just at the last second, don't I?
The tip of that wire was tied into a loop.
Yes.
If the elevator moved while that loop part hung from the doorknob,
If they did something like that, he would have been suspended in midair. That's right. He was suspended in midair. Huh?
He must have woken up, panicked, tried to get free, fell.
The killer tied up Nekomaru with the wire while he was in sleep mode. Tied the tip of the wire into a knot and hung it on the doorknob to the 4th floor.
Is this something a killer did? Or is this a suicide attempt now?
With that, they moved the elevator from the 4th floor to the 1st floor of Grape Tower. And suspended Nekomaru in midair.
Yeah.
That's right! He was so well hung! Kinda like...
Monokuma?
You better not finish that sentence!
The hell?
the killer took advantage of the elevator's unique feature. Only the floor moves. By doing that, they created a drop so Nekomaru could fall to his death.
Can't be. A suicide. Where did that hammer come from?
Too easy.
Kazuichi? You're also looking for redemption, huh?
So what if they created a drop? There's no way you can make him fall and die with just that.
Why?
If Nekomaru is suspended in midair like that, then how do you get him to fall?
Oh shit, you know what worries me as well now? You can't tamper with that clock. The only way that alarm gets set is if Nekomaru sets it himself. Why would he set it to 7:30?
Because if he's suspended in midair, he won't die if he doesn't actually fall.
Not to mention his limbs get detached quite easily. Okay. Here we go. What would it be? Clock's alarm timer?
Even if they suspended Nekomaru from a walk, how would they make him fall? There's no one in the tower to push him off. There's no way they could do that.
Oh, Kazumichi.
It doesn't mean someone had to push him off. It's possible that he fell on his own.
What? Nekomaru fell on his own? Nekomaru should have still been in sleep mode, right?
Allow me to cut through those words.
Oh, poor Kazumichi. Oh, jeez.
What do you think would happen if Nekomaru woke up while he was suspended upside down in midair?
You gotta put a bit more oomph into your arguments, Kazuichi. No wonder Sonya's not impressed with you.
What are you saying? Like, how would he even wake up?
The trick is to not try and impress other women. Just be yourself. Be confident. Let them be impressed by you naturally.
He has an alarm inside his body. As long as it was armed, it would have deactivated his sleep mode. Which means the killer set the alarm before they suspended Nekomaru.
But is that possible? I thought this clock could not be tampered with, right? Let's go over this one more time. Okay, so... Or maybe it's just the clock. It can't be. Surely they run off the same thing.
If you woke up from an alarm and realized you were hanging upside down and had no clue why,
You would shit your pants, which Nekomaru was good at. Except he couldn't shit anymore, so... Yeah.
if something like that happened to you, you would start panicking a lot, right? Instinctively, your body would start moving. Nekomaru probably did exactly that.
And then, In order to make him fall from the force he was generating,
It was attached to something so weak.
the wire was hung on the tip of the doorknob so it would easily slip off.
Well, it didn't slip off. It took the doorknob with him, right?
In actuality, the scrape marks caused by the wire were near the tip of the doorknob, right?
But Nekomaru didn't fall because the wire came off, right?
He fell because the entire doorknob came off.
When Nekomaru awoke, he must have struggled much more than expected, which caused the doorknob to break off.
Was that unexpected for the killer too?
Well, that's probably it.
If that doorknob didn't fall off, we probably wouldn't have figured out that he was suspended.
If they knew it'd leave behind evidence like that, they would have at least tried to do something to cover it up.
The killer didn't expect the doorknob to come off. The reason that even happened was because... In that case, I shall use my full power! Ooh. With a fierce roar, Nekomaru put all his power into grabbing the doorknob with both hands. But he must have, like, weakened it so much by then. Not yet. Here it comes. The incredible strength of 1 million horsepower! Wait, isn't it creaking? If you break off the doorknob, we'll be stuck in here. If that's really what it was, then that's the clue Nekomaru left for us to find.
I see. So that's how Nekomaru fell to his death.
Do you finally understand now?
Yeah. It appears it's just as Miss Sonia said.
Don't start putting yourself down, dude.
I'm just a pest. No, I'm not just a pest. I'm a total fucking pig.
Come on, dude.
Isn't that right, Miss Sonia? If I'm a fucking pig, you can say so.
Oh boy, 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 boy, boy.
No, I believe you gave your all.
Hey, why aren't you teasing me anymore?
This guy, he gets off on this.
So thanks to that alarm, Nekomaru ended up falling while he was still hanging upside down.
Yes, back to the case, guys. Come on, concentrate. Kazuichi, hold off on your admiration for Sonia, please, for now.
That doesn't mean he just crashed straight into the floor. Of course, you know that too, right?
Yes, even though I'm a reserve student, I do know that he didn't crash straight into the floor. It doesn't mean Nekomaru crashed straight into the floor. The moment Nekomaru fell to the floor, the only thing I can think of that happened to him was cola came out of his eyes. He collided with the pillar.
I see!
When Nekomaru fell to the floor, he ended up colliding with the pillar. Isn't that it?
Finally, the pillar!
Yay, we got here.
So that's how the pillar shattered, and why oil was spilled all over the place.
Yep, he fell head first onto it.
See, I told you the pillar was the weapon. My gut was totally right.
I mean, you're half right. It's not the weapon, it's just kind of the cause of death.
Well, the pillar was a bonus. It's not even clear if the killer intended that, or if it was just a coincidence.
Would he even have died if he just fell straight onto the floor without not head first?
At this point, it is quite difficult to find a clue that will lead to the killer.
Sure is. I think we need someone to slip up again.
Then what about the alarm? I'm positive the alarm was set for 7:30 a.m. And if we map it out from there...
Hold on, baby gangsta.
Here she goes again.
Stop calling me baby gangsta!
What'd you just say? Did you say the alarm was set for 7:30 a.m.?
You didn't check it yourself? Nekomaru's alarm was set for 7:30 a.m.
But we heard the crash at 5:30 a.m. 2 hours ago, supposedly.
Nah, that's impossible. 'Cause even though I slept in a little, I still got to the tower at 7 in the morning.
It was 9 o'clock by then.
Now that you mention it, so did I. There was no way I could be late for Monokuma Tai Chi, so I left for Grape Tower before 7 a.m.
And if we found Nekomaru's body there, it would have been before the 7:30 a.m. alarm went off.
Come on, guys. Did none of you wear watches as well?
It appears yet another contradiction has been birthed.
Birthed.
How were you able to discover Nekomaru died at 7:30 a.m. when you went to the tower at 7?
That's what I want to know!
Another mystery I don't understand? Seriously, it's just one after another. Okay, thankfully we're starting to bowl through this. It was the funhouse that really threw me off, but I think we know this sequence of events, right? But I can't choke up at a time like this. Just a little more and I'll be able to reach the truth. There should definitely be a clue to breaking through this contradiction. Come on, Hajime, we can do this. We're not an ultimate, but we're damn smart, aren't we? Okay. Let's
We
go for
headed
the
for
wall
Grape
clock
Tower.
for now.
Before 7 a.m., I am certain.
That's wrong.
But the alarm inside Nekomaru's chest was set for 7:30 a.m.
That's correct.
Nekomaru died because of that alarm,
it.
right?
His time of death and the time the body was discovered. One of those must be an illusion.
The killer probably did some tampering. They probably messed with the clock inside Nekomaru's chest.
Impossible.
That's gotta be it!
Radio clock. Okay, there we go. The alarm that caused Nekomaru's death rang at 7:30 a.m., but we discovered his body before 7 a.m. I need to crush one possibility at a time if I'm going to break through this contradiction. Exactly, one at a time. Let's
We
focus.
headed for Grape Tower. Before 7 a.m., I am certain.
Let's not half-ass two
But
things.
the
Let's
alarm
go
inside
last
was
one.
set for 7.
Nekomaru died.
His time of death and one of those must.
The killer probably did some They probably messed with the clock inside Nekomaru's chest.
No, that's wrong!
Impossible. Not that clock.
No, the clock inside his chest was a radio clock, so it would have been impossible to mess with.
So you're saying there's no way the killer could have tampered with the clock?
They had to tamper with the other clocks.
Maybe the clock Miss Sonia saw was the one that got tampered with.
Both of them were.
The clock inside Grape House?
No, I checked all the clocks inside the funhouse.
All set for the same time.
Oh, that's what I asked you to do. So you really listened to me and checked all the clocks.
And because of that, I can confidently declare that all the clocks had the same time displayed.
If there's no possibility that the time was tampered with, then we must doubt that human's testimony.
No, there's more than one human who's testifying this.
Please believe me, we are not lying.
Then maybe it's a misunderstanding?
These two.
I never misunderstand. I'll crush you into dog food.
This time-related contradiction. I don't think I should doubt the testimonies. I should doubt the clock. There's no mistake that something was done, but what was it? Perhaps we've overlooked something. Maybe we're misunderstanding something. Think. If I focus and think, I should be able to find the answer to that mystery. Oh, here we go, another logic dive. Sensitivity up. Still 3 questions. Okay, just double checking the controls. Whoa, slippery. Maybe I put it too sensitive. No, we're good. Okay, what are we missing here? What did Hajime and the others misunderstand? The time in the building, who the killer is, where the murder happened. The time in the building. We have no sense of time, because there's no windows apart from the octagon. Whoa, 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 whoa. Control yourself, Hajime. Concentrate. Think. Whoa. 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 Jeez. Okay. We're good. Okay, question 2. Which clock was tampered with? The building's clocks. Just the building's clocks. Can't tamper with Nekomaru's radio clock. So both is not an option. Keep going. Ah! That was close. Whoa. That's a big jump. Question 3. Which house had the wrong time? Both houses did. Okay. One of them can't be wrong if they both show the same time. Okay, there we go. Dive results. What did Hajime and the others misunderstand? The time in the building. Which clock was tampered with? The building's clocks. Which house had the wrong time? Both houses.
It's all coming together!
Killer had to find time to tamper with both the clocks.
You said you checked all the clocks inside the building. Isn't that right, Fuyuhiko?
Sensitivity down, before I forget.
Yeah, none of the clocks had the wrong time.
Well, they had the same time.
But what if all those clocks have been messed with?
What? All the clocks?
So even if you checked all the clocks inside the building, there's no way you'd have noticed it.
I see. So the killer messed with the time inside the whole building by changing all the clocks.
Then they had to know that Nekomaru's clock would be accurate and couldn't be tampered with.
So that's what it was. There's no way I would have noticed that.
They'd been planning to kill Nekomaru for quite a while then.
This is truly fantastic!
Which makes this all the more heartbreaking. Because, yeah, he'd just come back to us and they've been planning to kill Nekomaru. It wasn't like they just chose a random person to suspend from there.
Now's not the time to be pleased. More importantly, how much was the time off?
2 hours. She's right. That's the main problem. I need to clarify by how much the time was off after the killer messed with the clocks. That's definitely the next mystery. I'm going to reach the truth in one go. A lot of debates, a lot of stuff happening. Come on, keep this momentum. Alarm timer. I'm going
If
with
the
this one.
time in the building was all messed up, then we can only rely on Nekomaru's radio clock.
Which was correct.
The time of death was clearly 7:30 a.m.
That's correct. Yes, no mistake
The
about
problem
that.
is, what time would 7:30 be in our time?
We heard the shattering around 5:30.
Are there any clues that can be used to narrow that down? If only I heard the sound when he fell. It
did
would
hear
have been
it.
a great clue.
Didn't you?
Or his scream.
Did you not hear it?
He's not the type to let out a scream.
Is there something about the deluxe
If
rooms?
only Nekomaru's alarm was loud enough, we would have heard it too.
Oh my god.
There's no point in saying that. If does not exist in this world.
Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. If you can't hear anything because you're in the deluxe rooms, how did Gundam hear the alarm in the lounge? Sonia's claiming she didn't hear the sound either. And if she didn't hear it, and Nagito didn't hear it, both of them were in the deluxe rooms. I need to know if Chiaki heard it. Okay, anyway, back to this debate. Concentrate on this now. By how much did the killer adjust the time inside the building? How would I even figure that out?
If the time in the building was all messed
I
up,
completely forgot what the debate was.
then we can
Shit.
only rely on Nekomaru's radio
Oh wait,
clock.
oh my god, that's such a...
The time of death was clearly 7:30 a.m.
I hope I'm wrong.
The problem is, what time would 7:30 be in our time?
Are there any clues that can be used to narrow that down? If only I heard the sound when he fell. It would have been a great clue.
Or his scream.
He's not the type to let out a scream.
If only Nekomaru's alarm was loud enough, we would have heard it too.
There's no point in saying that. If does not exist in this world.
Okay, I need to know what to agree with now. By how much did the killer adjust the time inside the building? How would I even figure that out?
If the time in the building was all messed up, then we can only rely on Nekomaru's radio clock.
Fuyuhiko's account. $5 a.m.
The time of death was clearly 7:30 a.m.
The problem is, what time would 7:30 be in our time?
Are there any clues that can be used to narrow that down?
What's Akane's account again? I'm panicked right now.
If only I heard the sound when he fell.
I agree with that.
Why didn't you hear it?
That's right. We should have heard the sound he made when he fell. Wasn't it that rumbling noise?
Rumbling?
Oh god.
I thought it was just an earthquake, so I went back to sleep. Was that the sound from when Nekomaru fell?
Chiaki, I need to know if you heard that sound.
Well, The huge body fell from the 4th floor to the 1st, and the pillar fell with it. It's obvious we'd hear the impact sound.
We heard that noise too.
It was when we were gathered at the Strawberry House Lounge.
Like, I can understand if you guys heard the rumbling sound, but how would you have heard the alarm go off?
What is it, Sonia?
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Oh, well. That sound everyone heard? I did not hear it at all.
Oh, God.
Huh?
You probably didn't hear it because you were sleeping.
I could not sleep at all. I was awake the whole night with hunger pangs.
My heart's racing a mile a minute right now.
There's nothing to worry about. What's important is that rumbling noise anyway.
If we use that rumbling sound as a reference, we might be able to figure out how much our time was off.
I heard that sound probably around 5:30 in the morning.
Huh? You can tell?
I instantly woke up and left my room. And that's when I saw the clock in the lounge.
Excellent work, Akane!
If that rumbling sound we heard was at 5:30 a.m., it's like the answer to how much our time was off is literally right in front of me.
I see!
Nekomaru's alarm went off at 7:30, and if we heard the sound of his impact at 5:30, that means our time was off by 2 hours.
2 hours? That much?
Yeah.
We were starving pretty badly. There's no way we would have noticed.
Plus, the funhouse has no windows. And there weren't any Monokuma announcements either.
We had no way to tell what time it was.
However, for what reason did the killer alter our perception of time?
The reason is obvious. So they can lure out just Nekomaru.
Yep. Lure out only Nekomaru?
If you messed with the clocks and used a specific thing, you definitely get Nekomaru to the tower alone, right?
He'd go to Monokuma Taichi by himself.
From there, the killer's plan was a splendid success. That's all it means.
Besides messing with the time, the killer also used a specific thing? If they were trying to lure out only Nekomaru, then that specific thing is...
I see!
That's it! The killer made use of the Monokuma Taichi activity in the morning.
How did they use it?
We were required to go to Grape Tower every morning at 7 a.m. for that activity, right? But if they mess with all the clocks inside the building, what would that do to us?
make us late and miss it completely.
We wouldn't be able to attend on time, but that wouldn't affect Nekomaru.
Whose sense of time was immaculate.
His radio clock had the exact time.
That's right. In doing so, the killer was able to lure him to the tower by himself at the precise time.
Then, when I witnessed Nekomaru early in the morning...
He was going to Monokuma Taichi.
If I recall, you witnessed Nekomaru around 5 a.m. And if that time was also 2 hours off, it should have been 7 a.m. Yeah, that's pretty much it. At that time, he was heading over to Monokuma Taichi, right on schedule.
I see. Now that I think about it, I realize what Monokuma meant when he said those words.
Hands shaking.
Too early! He didn't even ask you yet!
Jeez, how outrageous! No one showed up for Monokuma Taichi? I honestly didn't expect everyone to ditch Monokuma Taichi. But it turned out like this after all, so I guess it can't be helped.
When you said everyone, you were including us, right? We thought we came to the tower on time, but in truth, it was way past the meeting time.
Exactly.
Ah, jeez! That's, well, how should I put it? What was it? You know, tripping over a foot, or something like that.
Shooting it, maybe?
Are you talking about tripping over someone else's fault?
Wrong! Too bad!
Liar! I'm right!
That's not it! It's incorrect!
That's definitely the correct answer. You always get so stubborn like this.
Let's just ignore the peanut gallery.
Let's take
Now
a bit
that
of the
we
edge
found
off.
out how the killer lured Nekomaru,
I'm so scared.
the number of suspects has drastically decreased.
I know. Huh?
Hey, why would that decrease the number of suspects? Don't be a friggin' liar!
You'll know I'm not lying when you listen to what Fuyuhiko's going to say next.
Huh? What the hell do you mean?
You witnessed Nekomaru going toward the tower. Did something else happen after that?
The alarm went off.
Are you talking about that alarm?
Alarm?
A little while after I witnessed Nekomaru, the clock in the Strawberry House lounge started going off.
Chiaki never disputed the fact that she didn't hear the rumbling. But I'm still not at ease.
Plus, it was just before that rumbling sound occurred. That's it. So that's what it is. If Nekomaru died when the rumble happened, then whoever doesn't have an alibi at the time is the prime suspect.
But what if they did that to create an alibi?
Really? Was there anyone who didn't have an alibi at that time?
Nagito.
I remember now. The sound was so loud I couldn't help bolting from my room. But there was one guy who never left the lounge. We were both on the same floor. It's pretty weird that bastard never came out of his guest room.
Which means that person does not have an alibi for when Nekomaru fell? Who is it? Who's the bastard?
Why is he doing this? It's whoever doesn't have an alibi for that time, right?
You're the only one!
What are you playing at now?
The one who wasn't there. It's you, right, Nagito?
That's right. Nagito wasn't there. It was just me, Gundam, and Fuyuhiko.
You didn't come out, even though the alarm was going off like crazy.
Because he didn't hear it.
You weren't in your room, were you?
If that's the case, where were you?
No, he must have been in his room.
Please, say something!
Nagito?
If you don't hurry up and answer, I'm gonna suicide dive you!
There's that word again.
If I may be frank, even if I wanted to go to the lounge, I couldn't.
What?
You couldn't? What do you mean?
It's merely the foolish talk of the weak.
Not only did I not hear the alarm, I never even heard that rumbling sound.
Couldn't?
You're definitely fucking lying.
However, that is also true for me. It is obvious that I did not hear the alarm in Strawberry House,
Yeah, that's obvious.
but I did not hear the rumbling sound either. Is that not strange? I mean, everyone else heard it.
No. Here it is.
To be honest, it's not just them. The same goes for me too.
This is it.
I was in a pretty deep sleep, so I thought that's why I couldn't hear it, but it wasn't that. I probably couldn't hear it at all.
Couldn't hear it? What does that mean?
The deluxe rooms. You must not be able to hear things. They must be soundproof. That's right, Monokuma did mention that they're soundproof, didn't he?
You still don't know.
I'm pretty sure he mentioned that ages ago when he was introducing the place.
Think about what the three of us who didn't hear a sound have in common, and I'm sure you'll figure it out.
That's why you guys were saying that episode was so sad. I had a feeling. The only people who didn't hear the rumbling noise were Nagito, Sonia, and Chiaki. The secret is what these three have in common. Could this also be the secret that points to the killer? No, too late on that one. I need time to process this. Ah, shit. That was close.
I got it!
Nagito, Sonia, and Chiaki. The three of you were staying in deluxe rooms, right? If I recall, the deluxe rooms are...
Soundproof. The guest rooms are divided up by quality grade. The deluxe room is soundproof and has excellent air insulation. The standard room may have so-so insulation, but it's still pretty decent. And the crummy room has severe airflow and draft problems.
The reason we could not hear the rumbling noise...
Completely forgot.
That's right. It was because the deluxe rooms have superior sound insulation. You actually noticed that. Nice catch, Hajime. Are you using your ultimate reserve corps student talent?
I'm about to use my ultimate fuck you up talent, Nagito.
Now then, you guys must understand by now, right? The true identity of Nekomaru's killer.
I just want to be wrong. Remember Byakuya was wrong in case 4 last time?
Hold on a sec! Why does that lead to who the killer is?
Because they should not have heard that clock going off.
Why? Well, that fact just now is a very important clue, and a decisive factor in identifying the killer.
Decisive factor?
Somehow, I feel like I understand what Nagito means. The killer among us. The killer who murdered Nekomaru. Oh shit, he's right there. Let's go this way. Doot, 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 doot.
You're the only one! Gundam, there's something I want to ask you. When the alarm rang at the Strawberry House Lounge, you rushed over there too, right?
What's wrong with that?
How did you hear it?
If the bell of catastrophe rings throughout the night, it is the universe's providence to stop it.
Why were you able to hear it?
Hear what?
The clock.
I mean, you were also staying in a deluxe room, right? Nagito was staying in a deluxe room in the same house on the same floor, and he couldn't even hear it. So why were you able to hear that alarm?
Now that you mention it...
Gundam?
There is only one possibility. You weren't in your room at the time.
You had to return after you dealt to Nekomaru.
That's why, even though you were staying in a deluxe room, you still went to the lounge. Am I right?
You'd forgotten that your room was soundproof.
Gundam, you have some sort of explanation, right?
Gundam probably couldn't return to his room because of Fuyuhiko.
He was sitting in the lounge watching.
Me?
After you saw Nekomaru heading to the tower, you stayed at the lounge for a while. Am I correct? Until the moment that alarm started ringing, right? If you were in the lounge for that long, the killer who had left earlier obviously wouldn't be able to go back.
Even though Nekomaru's murder was a death trap that utilized the alarm in his chest, the killer still needed to prepare the murder in advance.
Like putting Nekomaru in sleep mode and tying him up with the wire.
They had to take some time to prepare.
In order to do that, the killer needed to be waiting for Nekomaru at the tower. Which means when Fuyuhiko witnessed Nekomaru, the killer was already at the tower.
And once they tried to go back, they couldn't because Fuyuhiko was at the lounge.
He would have noticed. He's not denying it, he's not responding.
In their original plan, the killer should have returned to their room before the alarm in the lounge went off. And they were supposed to stay in their room. They weren't planning to come out and go to the lounge.
Which means they wouldn't have heard the alarm or the rumbling sound, thus proving they were in the room.
Just like us.
The best case scenario would have been if those two in the lounge had gone to check the deluxe rooms. After all, If they personally saw the killer sleeping in their room, it gives the killer a stronger alibi.
Can't you deny it, dude? Can't we just believe this was a suicide?
Unfortunately, they failed to secure that alibi.
Because I was in the lounge.
Good job, Fuyiko.
So the killer couldn't go back to their room, and ended up hearing the lounge's alarm.
Hey, what are you doing? This ruckus. It's louder than the supreme ruler of the netherworld bellowing for a sacrifice. Don't go making all that noise so suddenly.
But why'd you come out? You should have hid till the excitement died down.
If Gundam tried to hide, and if those two went to his room to check on him, he would have been found out.
He had no choice but to go there and make an appearance.
That would have been the worst possible outcome. That's why he couldn't just stay hidden.
If those two had just checked the deluxe rooms as planned, that would have been ideal, but how ironic. The moment Fuyuhiko set foot in the lounge, your plan was doomed.
Say something, dude.
Gundam? Please, can you at least say something?
Answer me this. Including myself in my 4 dark devas of destruction, how many ears do we possess?
10?
Huh?
The answer is 10. That's right, I possess 10 ears.
You're going to claim that you heard it no matter, even though it was freaking soundproof?
That means I have 5 times the hearing of a normal human. The soundproof system here may as well not exist.
This has come far too late. You should have said this before, dude.
Is that your argument?
You bastard! Do you understand the situation you're in right now?
Do not panic. The truth shall now commence.
Uh-oh.
At the time, I left my room to go to the bathroom. By coincidence, I heard the alarm.
I can't believe this.
That's right. That's all it was. The world is always so simple.
You're not saying this with much confidence.
Are you saying it was just a coincidence? Isn't that timing a little too perfect?
Yeah, well, Pico got sick in the freaking first case, okay? That was a coincidence, too.
And yet, I'm being suspected by all of you. It seems it was actually horrible timing on my part.
I see. You're still holding out.
Nagito's not impressed.
Well, you don't have to admit it. We're going to decide who the killer is with the majority vote anyway. So, why don't we just go ahead and start voting? It's obvious that Gundam is the killer.
I don't want to believe this. I can't. I don't want to believe this.
Hold on a sec.
Hajime, please come up with something. Say anything.
You know, Hajime, this class trial, this killing, it's merely the opening act, you know.
No, there's gotta be something else. There's gotta be fucking something else. What are we missing? This hammer. The chain. No, that was all to hide the fact that the place was... I'm running out of truth bullets to use. There's nothing left.
Hey! What do you mean the class trial is just the opening act?
Perhaps I should say, it's just a farce? Just a boring farce. So boring, so stressful. I'm so painfully bored that I might develop stomach ulcers.
Nagito, what the hell?
Seriously. Let's just hurry up and finish this before I collapse from poor health.
Nagito, something definitely happened to you, didn't it? At some point during the investigation, your behavior became even weirder.
It was after you got the files. Surely, my profile is not the only thing in there. That thing is so thick.
What actually happened? Did you discover something?
Well, let's just leave that fun for later. And finish this opening act already.
Ah, you said opening act again!
Please hold on! We have yet to hear Gundam's rebuttal!
But he's completely shut up. Perhaps he can't argue anymore.
find him!
Say something, dude.
I was simply at a loss for words after being dumbfounded by your pathetic assumption.
What's wrong, bro? I'm pretty much Taka, and you're Mondo.
In fact, I shall deny the very basis. Your assumption has been wrong since the beginning.
Oh god. Now what?
Since the beginning?
Based on your assumption, I hung Nekomaru from the 4th floor of the tower and made the floor descend to the 1st floor. From there, after returning to Strawberry House, I was present when the alarm at the lounge went off, correct?
That's what we've got so far.
Although going to and fro is busy enough as it is, how would I be able to travel between both houses anyway?
If you cleared the final dead room, you can be like Nagito and find a way to travel between both houses. The hatch.
I see. The contact elevator was broken.
The hatch in the Monokuma room.
As I recall, the killer tampered with the Grape House control panel, which shut down the elevator.
Dude.
Plus, the stopped elevator should have been facing the Grape House side. If so, the human who used the elevator would have left it at Grape House. For these reasons, it's an indisputable fact that the killer destroyed the elevator at Grape House.
I'm gonna have to use my melodious voice on you, but trust me, my voice is nothing melodious. There's nothing melodious about it.
And what's wrong with that?
If the elevator was broken at Grape House, you wouldn't be able to return to Strawberry House.
However, I was already at Strawberry House. I was present when the alarm in the lounge started ringing. Which means your assumption is clearly wrong.
No, it's not. I just want to think it is.
Are you serious? And here I thought it's already been decided.
Have you learned your lesson, pitiful humans? You cannot overcome this contradiction.
I think I can. That's wrong. When something is obviously wrong, that's when a contradiction is born. There's no such thing as a contradiction that can't be overcome. Dude, we have a contract and everything! I just maxed it out! I don't know what to use right now. It's probably going to be a truth flashback then, right? Usually.
That elevator was the only means of travel between the two houses.
Disagree.
As long as that elevator was broken, your assumption collapses.
Plus, the elevator was broken at Grape House.
If the killer cannot return to Strawberry House,
Since I was at Strawberry House at that time, there's no question that the following crime is impossible.
It would have been different if they had an accomplice.
No accomplice.
Or if there was a secret passageway.
How much longer do you plan to lecture me? Why don't we stop this already?
I don't want to do this. Contradiction is when something is obviously wrong. There's no contradiction I can't shoot through. I'm going to find out what that is. For the sake of everyone's hope, I'll shoot through the contradiction.
That elevator was the only means of travel between the two.
No, that's wrong!
That's what makes me sad. I found
No,
this
there
contradiction
should
so
have been
easily.
another way to move between the two houses without the elevator.
Such a method does not exist!
Then why don't we ask the person who actually used that method?
Nagito.
You're the only one!
Look at that carefree sprite of his.
Nagito, you should know.
What are you talking about?
Don't play dumb. You appeared so suddenly that one time because you used that method, right?
The hatch. Nagito, why are you here? Because I showed up.
There's a secret passage connecting the first floor of Strawberry House to the third floor of Grape House. Isn't that right?
Jeez. Once again, I let the reserve course show off.
Come on, we're the same, aren't we?
But you're right. There's a door on the floor of the Octagon, which is on the first floor of Strawberry House. After I opened the door and went down... Surprise, surprise! I ended up in the Monokuma archive. which is on the 3rd floor of Grape House.
Meaning the 3rd floor and the 4th floor are actually connected.
Yes.
Plus, once you've cleared the final dead room once, you can pass through it as many times as you want.
If they used that secret passage, they could have gone between the two houses as much as they wanted.
Infinity Unlimited Flame!
That's the skill you gave me, dude.
However, what if the killer was unaware of the existence of the final dead room?
What?
There's no way they didn't know.
That is merely an illusion you have fabricated from your own suspicion.
It's such a huge, gigantic landmark in the building. Gundam, please.
If you value your life, you should stop with your scrutiny.
There's no way I can stop.
What did you say?
I know we've got a contract and everything, dude.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
You're not gonna like me either. Alright, what are we going for here? Don't really know.
Even
Find
if
out.
the turbid box doesn't exist, you could travel through multiple planes, provided you use a spacious wormhole. However, how frail I say! Your decayed illusion. Shall I feed you to the progeny of vile deities?
I already proved a secret passage exists. The secret passage was at the Octagon.
Know the limits of your own reasoning! You say the killer went to the Octagon? Don't bark, you cur! If you don't want, at least pray to the key which dwells in the light!
Shit! That stupid weak point came. He probably means try providing the evidence that the killer went to the Octagon, right? If that's the case, I should have it too. The key which dwells in the light that will break through the darkness.
Know the limits of your own reasoning! You say the killer went to the Octagon? Don't bark, you cur! If you don't want to drown in the maelstrom of blind confusion, at least pray to the key which dwells in the light!
Shit, what's my proof that he went there? Try providing the evidence that the killer went to the Octagon. If that's the case, I should have it too. The key which dwells in the light that will break through the darkness.
Know the limits of your own reasoning! You say the killer went to the Octagon? Don't bark, you cur! If you don't want to drown in the maelstrom of blind confusion, at least pray to the key which dwells in the light!
Where'd you get the wire from, right?
Know the limits of your own reasoning!
Is that what
You
I'm
say
thinking?
the killer went to the Octagon? Don't bark, you cur! If you don't want to drown in the maelstrom...
Allow me to cut through those words! The wire used to string up Nekomaru's
You
body.
could only have gotten that from the Octagon.
The hammer that looked like the weapon. And the chain on the door in the tower.
Couldn't find them anywhere else.
Those are all the items that weren't in Funhouse. Where did the killer obtain them?
The only place I can think of is the Octagon. There were various weapons and tools there. I'm pretty sure I saw stuff like wires, hammers, and chains too.
Since those items were used in the crime, there's no doubt that the killer went to the Octagon.
If that's the case, they obviously know about the secret passage too, right?
Yeah. It's the only way out.
It seems this is the end. Normally we'd end up listening to Hajime lecture us with a very long summary of the case.
I have a feeling you used to do that too.
But there's no reason to waste any more time on this opening act. So I'm going to end this right now.
What the hell?